Okay, so your this is API gateway, and I think this is what you all have created so far. So so first thing I started going tried was create account because it requires only one parameter, right? That would be the beginning of any banking operation or wallet operation. So so here you would not see post in your in case if you're creating it using the CDK. What you would see is all of this. Okay, so I could have I think even this, if I delete post, it should still work for me because now I understood what are the changes I have to do. So let me see post. So let us say post, I delete this method. Okay, delete method. So so what this means any method call, this will go through this channel. Okay, whether it is so the possible methods are post, get, whatever, it will go through that. Now if you try to call this from your website, this authorization is required, AWS IAM, which means your website has to provide the access key and the password, and then only it will work. So and I tried few things, but ideally I installed there's a tool called Postman. This is a software I've installed. So let us say this is my so let us create something altogether new. Okay, so let's say add, so a new collection. Okay, so new collection name is my wallet service 2. This is in Postman. Okay, so remember this. So in this collection I will test all my links which I want to test. So in this case add a request to start working. Okay, so add a request means what type of request I want. I want a so as the file says, no, it is every request has to be a post request. Where it is here. So if you read the readme dot file, it is very clear that all APIs has to be a post method, and the body has to contain this. Okay, for depending on which method you call. So once we understand this, so we'll make this as a post method. But the question is what URL we have to access. So URL is where is on the API configuration only. So here they have kind of created stages. So stages means different environments. So you can create a stage called dev environment also, and have separate links for this dev. So you don't want to deploy. So they're asking to deploy, but I don't want to deploy anything. But this is basically you can create a separate set of links only for the development areas, and the moment you want to deploy it, you can push it to prod also. So that is what stages mean. So right now they have production environment, which is your live customer environment. They've given you the link over here. This stage has this link y, x, whatever. Okay. So I take this link and I say this is the URL I want, and then I want to put a slash in the front. Okay. I don't know without a slash it will work, but I'm putting a slash over here. And so body, what will the body be? So body. So I have already said no what the body should be. So there are more changes I have done to the deployment service. I have given more instructions. So all this, some screenshots are there. So should be the body. So this is account I want to create. So let us go back to the Postman. So uh, now I have to this is a post method, body headers. Where is the body? Why it is not coming? So this request is a create account request. Okay, we'll give it a name so that we recognize later. So this is in Postman, and you have to learn whatever tools you're using. You have to learn that tool. Why it is okay? Here the body has to be in. I'm putting it in raw format. Okay, ideally JSON should be there, but I selected raw format and I paste it over here. And if you look at the headers, what are the headers? The headers that is generated is content type is equal to text slash plain. This should be the content type. This is the main thing. and rest of it, this fellow except star slash star may be required. I'm not sure. It's not required when I tried, but this fellow is using this. So once you have that, you can your body as account 1323. So I hope you'll understand how HTTP works. So let me, because all these concepts, if you don't understand, will be a problem. So let's say you have a browser, and this is your web server in the backend. So this is your API gateway kind of stuff. So this is your API, and let's say this can be, in our case this is Postman right now, but this can be browser also. So when we call the link, we are making a HTTP request. It is going in one direction, right? So the HTTP request is going in the some format, right? It is just a set of text. So how does it go? So there will be some HTTP header data that will go, and after that HTTP body data will go, right? And so in the header you have to tell whether it is a post method. All the settings have to be done in header section, so all the data will be there. And body section is cannot be read. It is like you can read the headers while it is traveling, but you cannot read the body. Inside the body we have our account, the data that we are saying, no, account ID colon 1323 something 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 in some format. So this set of data is traveling actually over here. Whenever you are taking it, whenever you're sending a request to access any link, of course you need to, in the header you will also be specifying the link which I said, no. So the website link, whatever website API link, whatever, that will be there in the header. This is the link you're trying to do, and you're calling a post method, and this is the information you're sending in the body. And body cannot be read on the way, only the web server will be able to read the body. So having so that is how this is a HTML format. So that is what this Postman is saying. What is there in your body, what is there in your headers. So in this header all this data will be there. In the body part all this data will be there, and this is the link. So all this will be packed as this one request, and it will go to API, and then we'll see whether it returns any data or not. So what is, first of all let's see what is API setting. So API setting on create account. Okay, this is a IAM setting, right? So which means it requires an authorization, and I have not given any access key so far, so I send it and see what happens. Okay, account it got called. Why it got? Oh, I didn't deploy it. Okay, I made the changes, but it is not deployed. So every time you make a change, you have to deploy it. So when I deploy it, I go over here and I say deploy. So deploy will deploy only this API. Okay, one API at a time. So I say deploy, and which environment? Production. If I'm testing dev environment, then I'll say only deployed in dev environment, and prod environment I'll deploy it later. So now that I have deployed, and I'll verify the link is still the same. Okay, YQOX something. So that is YQOX. Now this time it actually executed the program because it was taking old setting. After deployment, let's see what happens. It says missing authentication token. This is an authorization issue because suddenly what it is doing, this IAM setting is taking place. You have to provide access key. So you have to go in authorization. So authorization, you can say I want to authorize using AWS signature. So if you look at so let us remove this part. If you look at how does the signature looks like, you have to provide access key and secret key over here. So so let us see, let us try maybe I have to be careful with my secret key now. Sorry, where it is. So I was facing something issue with the secret key access key, so I stopped using that. But let us me try once again in front of you, and maybe it will work this time. Okay, where are we? Here, then So I have this access key over here. So this will go in the header section, okay? Head, no, sorry, not header. I think it will go in the, no, it will probably encrypt it and send it. So even I'm not sure how. Definitely it can be header, right? Headers people can read. If it is going in a header, then it has to be encrypted. So this is the secret key. Everything I've updated, and region also is AP-Southeast 1. Everything is okay. But I think it didn't. The service name and service token, what it is, I was not able to figure out, and this is where I was stuck earlier. But we'll test it. So now we have the settings, body, headers, everything, and send. So what did we get as output? It says, oh, it worked. You see, authentication worked. Now if I create a new account, so I'll go in the body. I got this error because account is existing, no? So I'll say 1099. This account is not existing, and this is with authentication. Okay, I got the answer. Account created. So now if I see in QLDB, so this is working with authentication. Okay, remember this. And so where do I verify? In QLDB, no? So here I'll run the query. What is the account? 1099. Select star from wallet where account number is 1099 and run it. I should get ideally one result. So do I get it? Yeah. So 1099 has been created. So what if you don't want to if you want to allow anyone and everyone to access the link, you can just remove the authentication. Otherwise in the browser you'll have to make the setting. So how do we remove the authentication requirement? So what we do is we go to any over here, and what we do is this fellow has to be modified. So I click method request, I choose authorization and say none. Okay, so when I say none, then I save it. So what I'm saying is this method now, so I go back, and now the authorization requires is none. So client will call with none of the authorization. Once I do this, this method should work without authorization. So I'll test it with again with Postman, but this time I will remove the authentication. So I'll remove the signature. So I'll say no auth. No auth means data won't go in this. So headers is the same. Header, the main part is the content part, content type. So content type is text/plain, and this is the account ID, and this time I should get an error, and this is without authentication. Okay, means anybody can access the link. And I say send. Oh, missing authentication link. Why it can? This is the reason okay, I didn't deploy. I didn't deploy again. That's why the changes are not in effect. It is still considering IAM changes, no? So I have to deploy this. How do I deploy? I just go in action and say deploy API and prod deploy. Okay, so once I do that, the link is still the same. You have to verify always this link is same. If you delete this stage and recreate a new stage, then the link will change. Otherwise the link will remain the same, and for each API it's a separate link. Okay, so now that I have deployed, and let's see if my this I make a call. This time I should say account already exists, right? Without authentication, send. So I got account with user 10 already exists. So this is how you can test it using Postman. So this setting you need to learn. Any questions on this so far? Hello. Any questions? Anyone? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Palak, any questions? Did you understand what I've done? Okay. header section. Okay, so okay, Postman, this is the header section. Content type is text slash plain, and body should contain you know, body should contain this format over here, account, this format, and this is given in readme file also. These are the two main conditions, and the authentication should not be there. So if you where it is, so here in the header section, as I said, it should be post, content type should be set over here, it should be text slash plain, and no authentication should be there. Here there should be no authentication in case if you don't want to pass access key and secret key from the this, so there's no setting should be there. Now is it okay, Palak? Okay, so now that you have seen it, I'll show you the actual code, you know, from my so first let me verify whether API gateway still looks fine. Okay, so this is without authentication. So if you notice, all my APIs I've removed the authentication, but just because I don't want to, you know, just for the test sake right now I'm allowing, but anybody can call, make a call. So authorization is done if you notice, and it should work fine. So now that you've noticed, so this is a main condition, the authorization should be none. Now what we can do is, so I've created a page, where it is, so this is my page actually. So this page basically is an account ID textbook, and here I can this is supposed to call create account, get transaction history, and if you provide a fund, then you can add, withdraw, and get funds. So get funds will get you the balance of the current balance on the account number, so you need to provide account number for this. Okay, so this, whenever you're like wanting to get funds or get transaction history, ideally the output should come here. You know, that is what I have designed it. You can design it in your own way, or you can use my file. And so this is what I was testing. So the get part is still not working for me. I need to see what part is, but all these other three are working. So if I, let's say, I try to create an account over here, which is 989. So I'll say create account. So create account function called for account 989. So I'm just seeing, so this is the body I'm sending. Okay, I just wanted, I'm debugging basically how I'm sending it. So and then I'm saying okay, and I'm calling this API, so that is also I'm verifying, and I say okay. Now ideally I should get an output over here. The output is not coming. If you see, the response status is coming as not succeeded. So even so, this is what I was stuck with, why it is returning me not succeeded. So what did I do is I created some I did some debugging on the API front. So how can we do API front debugging? So what you do is, first of all, you go in the CloudWatch, okay, and there is something known as, on the left hand side, log groups. Okay, log group is basically every time you can log something when with which is associated with a particular service. So if I create a log group over here, I can just create a log group and give it a name, and I can say this log group should be deleted within 1 week, because you are going to get charged for all the data that is stored in the log group. So I said so I created, so that you can create a log group over here if you want. So something like my wallet log, and say expire, said it expire in 3 days, means all the things will be deleted. So once you do this, a simple folder will be created for you in your log group. So if you notice at the right bottom, there is a my wallet log. So in the same way, I created my wallet log group. So what does this my wallet log group does? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go to API, and I'm going to say, whenever somebody calls you, make an entry over here, so that I know whether somebody is able to reach you or not. So how do I do that? So I go into get transaction, I choose the API which I want to log, So let's say create account API, then in create account API I go to stages, I think, yeah, stages, where it is, not stages, I'm forgetting. I've done so many things. Yeah, I've gone into stages, then I click prod. So in prod, anytime calls a link, I want it to be logged. Okay, so I can log that specific thing. So I create a log. So remember stages, I selected my stage prod. In this I want to log anytime somebody is calling this link. So what do? I'm going to log, and I say enable access logging. So like this I say enable access logging. So now here I have to give the log group name. So this is the name of my log group. My wall, if you notice, this is my wallet log group. So how can I get this name? I go back to CloudWatch, and there is a ARN name, no? So until this you don't have to copy colon and start, just until the wallet group, that is your ARN address. Okay, so that you say whenever somebody calls a link, put it in this log. And what to put in the log? This is the log. So what you can do, let's say I delete this, it was empty first. Over here just click JSON, so whatever is the default it will come here, and all this data will be this, and then I save it. So I hope you all understood. I created a log group in the CloudWatch, then I went to my API and said whenever somebody calls you, put an entry in this log. So just now sometime back so this was already enabled, means this log should have gone in the my wallet log group, right? So I'll go back to my wallet log group, and there is a log stream, means every time somebody sends some data, one stream of data where row will be created over here. So I called this program at, I think 4 minutes back I called, this is the fellow, right? 432. Yeah, so at 432 I called this log, and this log stream was created, and when I open this, it is the same format, right? That is the format I said. This is all, everything you have to publish. So it says which is IP address, who's the caller, what was the method support, and what was the status. So I'm looking, main thing is this status, 200, is it 200, is it 400? So I'm looking for status equal to 200, means my call went through. So what does this say? That in the front end I got an error actually over here. I got an error, but in the back end, what do I see? It is a success. So I don't know why it is giving me an error in the front end. That is the part I'm stuck with. But the important thing is my call went through 200. So which means API call went through. Then I go and verify in the QLDB. If this is successful, which means this API will call the Lambda function, and Lambda function will call the QLDB. So here I noticed that this row is there, right? So there are different ways of verifying, the thing, this. And the CDK, if you notice, it has created some other log groups also. And so I'll click on log groups. So these log groups, some of the log groups was earlier created, but this log group is definitely created by the CDK. So we had a create account lambda. So this lambda function is connected to this log group. Means anytime somebody calls a lambda function, then you log in. And here, for some reason, this log, I do not know how they have configured, it does not show up. I made a call at around 4:32. I don't know what time it was. What is this call? So basically a lambda function was called, and it has given you a kind of full trace of what all happened during that trace in that call. So it made a post, HTTP request came in. Can you see anything that says that indicates content? It is not giving, no? So if you want to put something inside the log, even in lambda function, you can say, you can write a simple code, to log something. inside the group, like log the account ID, just to know which account ID, what was the amount that was passed in. You can log it inside this group.
So there was content type mentioned in that. Content dash type.
Hmm. Content dash type. Okay. Yeah. So this call, and the important thing is this call was made by the API, not by the browser. The browser calls the API, the API calls the Lambda function. So this call, so the important thing is, does this is the same? Is it the same call? It does it match with the call which I made? So this the thing is that timings are not really. Whenever I'm calling some, so let's say for example, let's try again. Okay, create account, and let's see if I can delete the log. First of all, let's delete everything. So deleting the log would also mean you're emptying the space. If you don't need it, just delete the log, otherwise you'll be charged for it. So everything is deleted in the log stream now for that particular log. So now I'll go ahead and call create account again. Where is my create account? Right, so I'll say this. Oh, I created 989 now, so this time I'll say 990 and say create account 990, account ID, link is getting called, and output I'm getting -1. So now I go ahead and verify my, first of all, API log. I'll verify. So what is my API log? So I'll go into log groups, API log, and it takes some time, around few seconds it takes for the log to show up. So right now it is at 432, and there should be one entry for close to 440. So it has come in, right? 440, another link has come, just now it has come. And what is the output? When I open it, the status is 200. So this API call was successful. It did send a whether it sent the response or not, we do not know. So now I'll check whether the Lambda function ka log group, and which is the Lambda function, whether the entry is there or not. I'll verify. We call this create account Lambda, right? Oh, it did create an entry 440. Good. So basically this also event went through, but response body read write, it doesn't nowhere indicate which account ID, what was the data, because it wants to hide. Ideally it would never do it unless we write it, we programmatically put an entry over here. But anyway, the important thing is a Lambda log entry also was created, but is there a way to know whether it was a successful call or not? Some request status on the report. Okay, what does the report says? Segment ID, memory used. So you're going to be charged for this much data. Okay, whatever this call was made, it was called for 246 milliseconds, and yeah, so Lambda also the logs were made. So that is what I was trying to give you a proof of how these logs are working. And then the final verification is in the database itself, right? So I want to see whether a record created with 990 run. So I'm getting an output of one row, 990 was created over here, right? So this is how I verified. And I mean, the moment I got an error in the front end, I went in the back end and saw that the records are created, everything is created, but why I'm getting the error in the front end, I don't know. So that part I was stuck. So now I'll show you the code of this, how I've written. Any questions on this so far? Okay, any questions? Okay, so I'll go in my notepad now and I'll show you the code. So this is a simple index.html file, a wallet service, and I'm using Angular 1.78 because things will be easier for me. So this is the header part, and this is how you need to initialize an Angular. You need to specify what is the controller's name and what is the app name, and this app and controller are going to work together, and it is implemented in my bank API gateway.js. So this is a similar code which I have shown in the semester also, so you should be able to understand this. So this is we need to initialize the app name ng app ng controller, and once you do that, you can work with this variables. We can work between the controller and your HTML page. So whatever I'm doing here will get can be it's synced up with your my bank API gateway. My bank API gateway will know whatever you're doing in this HTML page because you've connected this app over here. So it is kind of able to see it from the backend, and it is able to even modify your HTML from the backend in the sense JavaScript. Okay, so here you notice I defined some variables ng. So this is how you define variable. Ng dash model is equal to account ID, and so this is this basically means whatever is written in this text box, your AngularJS can read it using this variable name, whatever you type. So and so in the same way for fund, I'm calling the balance amount fund, I've tied it to this variable ng model amount. So whenever anything gets reflected over here, anybody types amount in the my this AngularJS JavaScript will know. And whenever somebody clicks this button, I'm telling them to call ng click means it call this particular AngularJS function, which is add funds. And so you see there is a connection. So if you look at it diagrammatically, so you have two things in the page. One is your AngularJS code, right? This is your Angular. So this was something, name was my bank API gateway.js. So this was an Angular code, and this I have included in the HTML file over here, right? I said what did I say? I say ng app and ng controller. This is I given some name to it, and that if you read this my bank JPS this code, you'll find I've implemented this app over here. Okay, whatever name has been given over here, I've implemented over here. Then in the front end, what all was there? In the front end, one text box was there, right? And which was like account name, account ID. And there was another text box which was amount, in case if I want to add money or remove money. This I again I tied it with the this application. So in this backend application, if somebody is reading this value, wants to read this fellow was account ID was date, I think, what account ID na ng model. This is how I defined in the account ID something na. So this is what I have already configured in the page itself. So and here again I have tied the amount also, so that I can read over here. And then I tied the buttons also, right? Buttons was create. So let's say this was create account. So how did I try this? I mentioned whenever somebody clicks this will call which function? Something create account function on the JS. So here you should see a create account in the backend JavaScript page. You should see an account ID, and you should see amount over here. And so in this code, this function over here, this is where I am calling my API. So this is how it works. Anything happens in the front end, it goes to this JavaScript create account is called, inside this create account calling my API is called, and this internally goes to my link. So that is how this AngularJS works. So any question on this part, how AngularJS is working? Now if I say account ID in the code, if I say account ID is equal to 34, you should see 34 over here without even the user typing it. Okay, so that is because in AngularJS the data is traveling both ways. They are connected in both direction. If you modify over here, this will reflect in the front end. If you modify in the front end, it will reflect in the JavaScript also. So that is now. So now I'll show you. So this is how the page looks like. So if you notice, there is nothing big in the page. I just defined the application controller and I linked it to the JavaScript. So Angular JS, the first thing is you have to define the application name. No, so this is how you define the application name over here. My Bank API Gateway. So with this name only was given over here, right? My Bank API. So the same name should be here, and the controller also should be there. I said no. So this is the controller. So this controller starts with the open bracket over here, and then it finally ends in the end over here. You see it over here. So in between this controller, all the code is there, and I'm saying scope dot account means this is a variable name. So any variable name you have to define, you have to refer in the code. You have to say $scope dot account. So let us see create account function. So this is a create account function. So I'm calling account dot create account, right? So that is how it is given in the index. You see, click account dot create account. Even so, here it is account dot create account, but when you are using it in JavaScript, you have to say $scope dot account dot create account. Okay, is equal to function. This is how functions are declared over here, and in this function I am doing all the magic code. So the magic code is you saw some alerts, right? Some pop-up, account ID so and so. I'm calling this body API. All this was done by this alert over here, and so what is scope dot account ID? The account ID was tied to the text box over there in the HTML page. So where it is, account. You see, ng model is equal to account ID. This is the account ID. No? So whatever data is typed over here, I will come to know. I can read it over here and I can display it. You see, I'm saying scope dot data is equal to this plus scope dot account ID, whatever was typed by the user, because this is typed in ng model. And then inside I am saying this is a URL. This is my API, right, for create account. For different APIs, this different link is there. For this add funds, there's a separate link. So I'm just passing on a different link. So whatever I need to pass in the body, I'm putting it in scope.data over here. So this is the format for create account, right? Account ID equal to account ID. That is how they want to, in the JSON format, we have to specify in the body section. So I'm initializing that, and then I'm calling this function call API. Account.call API is again my function. So create account is calling call API, and what does call API do? So this is the call that is going in the backend. So if you notice the URL, whatever URL was passed to me in the function, so this API, the function, the URL is coming as an input parameter, right? That is what I passed from my create account function. So if you notice my create account function, how I'm calling the call API with open bracket, and within quotes internally I'm passing the link and closing in semicolon. So this is I'm calling the function. So while I'm calling the function, I'm also sending the URL that needs to be called. So when this fellow gets called, the URL comes inside the function over here, and the same URL I'm passing it, I'm initializing it over here before making the call. So, and this is how you send it. So if you notice the content headers, what I'm saying, whatever headers have to be set, it has to be set over here. So if you notice, content type is equal to text plain, data type is equal to text, and body is equal to this section, scope.data. Whatever in the body I have to put is over here, scope.data. So this I've in it, and the method is post. So whatever I did from postman, I initialize it in this section. Then the URL gets called, and if it is successful, ideally this part of the success part of the code should get executed. Success callback means it called and then it came back, and when it comes back successfully, this fellow is supposed to uh, you know this fellow is supposed to be executed, but this fellow is not getting executed. What is getting executed is error, and that is why see scope dot message is equal to service not exist response dot data. So that's what we got in the front end, no? If you notice, this -1 is coming from, see, service not exist null. This is what I'm displaying. So if this is the display part, that means that it was an error. This fellow got executed, and why this fellow got executed and not the success part? Sorry. Why the success part was not called, I do not know. This is a asynchronous call, okay? So you have to understand how asynchronous functions work. So it makes a call, and then the server has to return back a response, and if the server does not return the response, then this error callback will be called. But after some time, because for some time it waited for some time, it did not call, and then this is the response it got, error callback. So why asynchronous calls were not responded, I do not know. I need to find out. But the call went through though successfully. It called the lambda function. We saw that it worked. So this is how your code is there working. So there is a call API, which is a general function which I've written, and this call API, the only thing changes is URL and scope.data means body. So from every function, if I'm calling create account, I am changing the body over here. So I'm passing the account number. But if I have to add funds, then what I'll have to do, I have to pass account number and amount. So you see, this is how it works. You can see that scope.data is equal to account ID, amount. So in readme file they've said, no, this is the format. So for adding funds, you have to send it in this format. So this is the format I have already, that is what I have shown you just now. That is the format over here. Account ID is equal to account ID, comma, amount is equal to amount. So whatever is there, scope.amount is nothing but that that whatever amount was typed in that text box. So that will come and get updated over here, and then amount should be added. So now that we have done this, let us try to add the funds. Okay, any questions on this so far?
No, sir.
Okay, so so let us
No,
see.
sir.
Okay, the wallet, yeah, so 990. So what is the balance? We'll see first of all. 990 balance was 0. So I'll try to add 100, add funds, okay, from the front end. So I'll say 990 account 110, let's say, okay, just so I'll say add fund. Let's see what happens. Account ID is 990, and this is the format. The body is going in this format. I'm just displaying before sending because I want to know whether the format is correct. Here I'm trying to debug actually. So this is the correct format, right? This is how the readme file says you have to send, and then say okay. And which is the link that is going to be called for add fund? This is the link, okay? Okay, so I say okay, and then I'm waiting for the response. I'm getting -1, but let's see what happens in the backend. So ideally, when you look at the logs, ideally I would be going and look in the logs. So I don't want to see the lambda log. Usually I go and see the API log, in the API log. So API log is where it is set in my wallet group. No, this is a special log which I've created only for my APIs. So just now I made a call 457. So there is an entry over here, and I'll first thing what I'll check is the status of the request. Was it successful? So I say it is 200. So this is a good sign. It is 200 means everything, it went beyond the API. API was able to call the lambda. And if I look at lambda's log group, what does it show? It was add funds, no, this fellow. So okay, there is an entry over here. So this fellow also got called, but I'm not able to understand this log properly. Okay, I know it was called, whether it was successful, not successful, what was the status. So this is something we have to study later, maybe, in case if you're working in Lambda, then how to understand this log, how to create our own log format, the whatever what data should be there. We don't want to see all this data, then how do we create? So we can that's just like I created a wallet group. I can create another my Lambda group, and in Lambda function I can say whenever you're doing whenever this account ID is getting called, you log that account ID in my log group, and we can see the log group. So you can customize you can have your own custom built log groups. Okay, this is a AWS defined log group. It's too much detail, it doesn't make a lot of sense for me as of now. And finally I go and check in the QLDB, right? 990 I added 110 and it is 0 right now. So let's see after it got executed what is the balance. So you see 110 over here. So now so in the same way I will try to withdraw something. So how do I, so where it is, wallet. Okay, so so this time I'll go and I'll say I want to withdraw how much, 25, some okay 27, just a very odd number, and I'll say withdraw funds 900. This is the format. So 99027 has to be withdrawn. The link that will be called will be OTBKW whatever, and over here, and I get the status -1. So now I will not show you the logs. I will simply go to the why do I tab, why did I delete, shit. I'm working, the link got takes time to show up. Okay, wallet ledger. So wallet ledger means is like your accounting. Okay, so account, and so here we'll choose the ledger, and I'll say select star from wallet where account ID equal 990, right? So I deducted 27 from 110. Okay, so then, and what is the output? I got 83. So create account worked, adding the funds worked, withdraw the funds worked. So now I will test the other two functions. So this is where I was stuck. So I'll say I want to get funds means get the fund balance to me. That is what it means, get funds. And get transaction history means get me all the records for this particular account number. So get funds. So this is account ID. This is the format. It will give me, should ideally give me the balance, and I get -1. So because I'm not getting the response, that is why I'm not able to get this. So the question is, did my did get funds work? First of all, did the API get called? So what do I do to check my API get called? I go to CloudWatch, I go to my log group. I have tied my API to this wallet log group, so I should see one entry over here, and there is a 5.2 entry over here. Just now it has come in, so I open it, and what do I look for? Whether the call went through successfully, and it says the call went through successfully. The question is then, I did not get the response, but the call went through successfully. So what did I do is I went in the API and I tested my API separately from the API itself. So how do I do that? I click my API, and which function I have to test is get funds. So this is a get funds. Okay, so get fund authorization is none, and the call went through, definitely I know that. And so remember, even at proxy level, even though IAM is there, at any, when this method is getting executed, it is auth is equal to none, and that's why the call went through. Okay, I don't know whether it's because of this the response was not good. I don't think so. Let us, can we change this? I don't think so it is allowed. This is only through the proxy, and I think through the browser this is what is getting called with auth equal to none. So let us test this, and post method, and we know what is the format, right? Account 1323 is there, so I will go with that in the body, and I'll see the output to see whether the function is actually working or not, because maybe the lambda is not working, no? So you see I got an output over here, response body account ID balance 63, which means it worked. So why it didn't return to me in the front end, I do not know. Now let us see get transaction history in the same way. I'll have to figure out. That is, I just wanted to show you all these things so that while I continue forward, you all can at least do this much. This is a get transaction history. I click any, and it is none. I test it. I say the method is post, and I want a transaction history for 1323. So I say test, and what do I get as an output? I get the entire set of records. You see transaction, all JSON output is coming. So this output I should have received in the front end in the wallet, and this is where it has got stuck. And if you notice the code, the way it is written, where is my code? Yeah. So in index, how do I display all the records? So again there is a special Angular type of code. What I'm doing is, in whatever response I'm getting, if it is successful, then get transaction history, right? Yeah, this is calling the API, and in the API, if you notice, uh, whatever response is coming, it is coming in this variable response or data. That whole JSON is there inside this fellow, and this fellow has been initialized to this variable scope dot data dot response, and this fellow is what I'm using in index.html. So I'm saying for any so this account means any name you can give. We can say my bank accounts or something. I'm saying account. So I'm saying for accounts in data dot query response, display account dot account id, account dot tx time, and account dot balance, and account dot tx id. That, because that is the format it is coming in. No, this is the how the rows will come back over here. You will get all these columns, and but I'm reading only transaction time, balance, and account ID. Only these three, and transaction ID. I think I'm where it is. Yeah. So only those four columns I'm displaying over here. So this is a for loop actually, but it will come up as a table in the front end. Yeah. Whenever the rows are coming, I think if you have done your you know your whatever that assignment, service oriented assignment, and then this will be very easy to understand. So this fellow, you'll see a table down over here in case if any rows are coming in, all this. So that is, I think, all. I can share from my side. I have to share only index.html and my bank html, no? So I'm sending it on. Can I send a file here? Oh no, I cannot send a file here. Okay, WhatsApp group. Can I send? Where is folder? Yeah. Okay, and so where is my code? Code is in the serverless wallet only. I've created a src and then html folder. It is inside this actually. Inside this my bank website and everything is there. Actually, you don't need a script folder, so I'll delete it. Okay, so you just require my bank website, these three files, which shows you all the code and which is there in the HTML folder. So this HTML folder you can put it in your wallet. While you're uploading your code, you can have this folder or yourself zip it. Okay, where is the zip? Send to compress zip. Right, so zip is over here. This fellow. Okay, there is some openings for the freshers. Rajita has sent. So Rajita forgot a company. I think, I don't know which company. CMC, I think, or Infosys. I don't know. Okay. Okay, so now that I've done this, let me stop recording, I guess. I think I've shown everything. Where is the recording?